After making their way across the lava in the most unconventional way possible, the Kongs now find themselves in a collapsing mine shaft, surrounded by large, shining stones, but also bad guys. Here is a chance to learn more about the Kremlings, and why they made this island their home. It doesn't give us the whole story, but it may help shed some light on it. This is part 8 of Overthinking Donkey Kong Country 2. Right off the bat, I want to say I have a real bone to pick with this level, specifically where it chose to hide its DK coin. I remember spending ages combing over every inch of this level looking for the DK coin, only to find out that it was hiding in the first bonus area. That's what we in the industry like to call bullshit. Moving on. This is the first appearance of the mineshaft tile set, and it's absolutely stunning. I don't know what else you want from me. Seeing as how big a theme mining was for the original DKC, it's cool to see it return here, and in a much more visually impressive way. The music for this level is another banger, one of the best tracks in the whole game, just like the previous level. David Wise did such a great job on this game. Like Mainbrace Mayhem and Top Sail Trouble, we've got another vertically oriented level here. The ratio of vertical levels is pretty high so far, but that will change over time. Unlike the aforementioned levels, which revolved around the rigging and Ratley respectively, Kannon's Klaim sees you ascending via barrels for the most part. It's the first appearance of the arrow barrels, and aside from some blast barrels and the occasional Kong-specific barrel, that's how you'll get around. That's the gameplay focus too, though a close second would be Kannon, the level's namesake. Clump has returned from DKC, with a new hat and a new gimmick, the Kannon, hence the name. Sometimes he fires barrels, sometimes you'll have to dodge them, sometimes you'll bounce off them to reach new areas. It's a cool addition to the gameplay, and Kannon's a great addition to the Kremling crew, one of the best even. As a quick aside, I often overlook the enemies of DKC2, but of all the ones we've covered so far, I don't think there's a single one that isn't great. Some new faces with new methods of attack, and some old ones with a fresh coat of paint. Speaking of, Mini Neki returns here, an old enemy with a new design and a new attack up its sleeve. This time around, Mini Neki swoops at you. Fairly easy to avoid, but you can't be complacent. Like Kannon's barrels, Mini Neki can also be used to reach new areas. He doesn't show up until the halfway barrel, where he becomes arguably the main enemy of the level. The bonus areas all revolve around traversal, from the Kong barrels to the arrow barrels, and revisiting the flitter concept from Top Sail Trouble. This level gives us that familiar 1-2-3 with the arrow barrels too. The first one is above solid ground, under a DK barrel, showing the player what it is and how to use it in a risk-free environment. The next barrel takes them to the next level up, where they'll encounter Kannon for the first time, and again, get a feel for the new gameplay addition in a low-risk environment. From there are 2 runs of 2 barrels apiece before a 4-barrel vertical run. Just another great example of how the game introduces, then expands upon, new ideas, teaching players without them realizing they're being taught. I feel like that's a point I'm constantly making, but I also don't feel I'm overstating it. It's the kind of thing that looks easy when it's pointed out to you, but we've all played enough obtuse or outright bad games to know that a huge percentage miss the mark. Being able to non-verbally communicate, especially in a way that starts a thought in the player's minds, but lets them complete that thought for themselves, is no simple task. So when it's done right, I think it deserves to be celebrated. Pound for pound, I think Donkey Kong Country 2 does this better than 1 or 3. Maybe it's their way of compensating for the increased difficulty over the previous game. I don't know. I think Kannon's Klaim is more than just a cool looking tile set. I think it says quite a bit about the island and the Kremling's presence on it. I don't think it's a stretch to say that the stones in the background are likely valuable, and I don't think it's a stretch to say that the Kremling's attempts to mine them haven't been the smartest. Look at how rows of unused TNT line the walls, or how the walls themselves look like Swiss cheese. There is a real ad hoc nature to the mineshaft that is pretty on par with what we've seen of the Kremlings in the past. And while these stones might be valuable, what use they have remains to be seen. But it comes as no surprise to me that the Kremlings would brave the lava for a chance to mine here. And finally, and this is full tinfoil hat stuff, I'm well aware, but it could be the case that Kannon's Klaim is indeed Kannon's Klaim. What I mean is, Kannon found it, Kannon put his flag down here, and Kannon defends this mine, even from other Kremlings if need be. It could be that Kannon parlayed his newfound wealth for a high position in the crew, which, after the events of DKC, he could have lost. Maybe the Kremlings we see here have mutinied and are sailing under Kannon's flag now. I mean, I doubt it, but it's fun to speculate. Episode 8 is in the bag. I had fun. I hope you had fun too. Let's do this again sometime.